And welcome to the Daily Space Weather. Today we're starting things out by going around the horn, starting out in the southwestern limb of the closest star. We've got some huge prominences, massive filaments, some instability, an increase in the radio flux, an incoming coronal hole high-speed stream, and lots more to cover. Some underperforming sunspots. So here's the southwestern limb. Huge prominence hanging out around that region. How about the southeastern limb? One decent-sized sunspot group there, rotating into a more earthly-facing portion of the solar disk. Also some prominences in the southeast. Switching to the northeast. We've got a new sunspot having just risen up in the northeast. It's at quite a high latitude up there. You can see that bright region there just rising over the northeastern limb. The Bagashov filament here looking like it's getting a little bit unstable. And what's going on in the northwest? Well, there's the northwest. Let's zoom out to show the entire disk in ionized helium, 304 angstroms from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. All of these images were from the last 24 hours. It's why it's the daily space weather. So looking at the SDO colorized magnetogram here, again, another sunspot group just rose over the northeastern limb. Here is the SDO intensitygram. Most of those sunspots are pretty stable here over the past 24. No major growth or reduction in umbral area, I'll say. And by the way, take a moment to visit our links below the video. You'll find in the description a link to our Hemp Lucid shop, our latest sponsor/affiliate. So check that out. You can find it on the homepage as well at smashomash.com. And welcome to the Neo Renaissance. Help us out with clicks by visiting the links in our description, hitting us up on social media, become a patron, perhaps become a member of the Smash Team by clicking the Smash Team link. Also on our homepage there, in addition to the Hemp Lucid link, you can also find a link to SureMed. If you want to improve your health, consider becoming a member of the American Better Health Organization. Not insurance, it's an association. The American Better Health Organization, DBA SureMed. Check out that link if you like. If you're thinking of having some work done, save 15 to 50% on dental. Are you thinking about getting new eyeglasses? Save a ton on your eyewear with our vision discounts. You'll also have access to virtual veterinarians, counselors by phone, doctors by phone. Don't forget the Health Advocate Solutions to help you navigate medical bills, insurance providers, etc. Get lower bills negotiated by professionals with your Health Advocate Solutions. Also, some group insurance available there via SureMed, only available to SureMed members. And let's do the volcanic rundown. I'm wondering what's erupting. And guess what? Some more new real estate being created on the coastline of Sierra del Fuoco. Right there. Some new real estate showing up as lava flows to the ocean. So yes, Stromboli producing some new real estate there as a lava flow feeds a new coastline delta. Some exciting stuff going on there at Stromboli. Also, Shivaluch exploding on the Kamchatka Peninsula, producing a 12,000-foot plume of volcanic ash. Please remember to not pole vault the caldera. Tal on the Isle of Luzon, Philippines, produced a 2,000-foot volcanic ash plume. Semeru exploding, flight level 160, it's a 16,000-foot ash plume. And Mauna Loa continues to send lava, especially through the northeast rift zone. So Fissure 3 continuing to produce a lava flow there. It's now about 2.15 miles from the Daniel K. Inouye Highway, otherwise known as Saddle Road. So some slowing there of the lava flows happening there as lava reaches more flat regions of the island. Popocatépetl also exploding there in central Mexico, flight level 190 over Popocatépetl. It's exploding. Fuego in Guatemala exploding, flight level 150. Sangay, no volcanic ash detected. I don't assume it's not erupting. Revenador in Ecuador exploding, flight level 150. Cotopaxi now back on the list, exploding in Ecuador as well, flight level 200. It's a 20,000-foot ash plume from Cotopaxi. Sabancaya exploding, flight level 260. It's a 26,000-foot ash plume over Peru. And some Strombolian activity from Villarrica there in central Chile. No major volcanic ash plume there. Volcanic alert level remains at yellow from Villarrica. And let's get back to seismicity next. No quakes over a 6 magnitude over the past 24 hours. That's the 90-day bar graph from volcanodiscovery.com. So here's your rundown. Largest quake of the past 24 was a 5.6 at Tonga. It was preceded by a 5.3 magnitude foreshock at Tonga. So there's a prime example of a foreshock. A 5.3 happened at 14:21 yesterday, and then at 16:19, that 5.6. Also, the Easter Island region of the Pacific Ocean saw a 5.0 and a 5.3. Some quaking happened in California as well. So things fairly calm here over the past 24. Oh, I stand corrected. The largest quake of the past 24 was a 5.9 at Indonesia. There was also a 5.0 at the Southern East Pacific Rise. That 5.9 at Indonesia came in at 6:07 Universal Time this morning on December 6th. Also a 5.0 there in Indonesia, coming in about 2 hours after that at 8:01 this morning. Also the Mid-Indian Ridge there, seeing a 5.1 and a 5.2 at Indonesia. Remember, folks, any earthquake can be a foreshock, as we just demonstrated there with that Tongan couple of quakes. And let's get back to a couple of space. Space, a frontier. These are the voyages of the last 24 hours of SDO. Taking a look at extreme ultraviolet there. The house favorite wavelength, 171 angstroms. Let's add 193 angstroms here to show the extended corona, as well as that well-defined trans-equatorial coronal hole seen here. And the 10.7 centimeter radial flux now at 150 solar flux units. There's the 1-year graph to put that in context. You can see the black line up top there, how proportional that is to the red line below it, the sunspot number. Well above the 81-day average for the 10.7 centimeter radial flux, that is. Continuing on to Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard, we're expecting an incoming coronal hole high-speed stream here before NOAA expects it. So we're expecting it late in the day today, at least the high-density portion of it to arrive. Whether or not that will cause any geomagnetic unrest or geomagnetic storm conditions, who knows, but NOAA is indeed forecasting a mild geomagnetic storm here, but not expecting it until the 8th. We're expecting it by midday tomorrow. So a little bit of a disparity there in the forecast timing. NOAA forecasting geomagnetic unrest late in the day tomorrow on the 7th and early in the day on the 8th. We're expecting it mid to late day today. Well, we're expecting the geomagnetic storm to come a little bit earlier than NOAA. Let's just say that. We'll say 12 hours earlier. And we'll show you some imagery of the coronal hole a little bit later in the video. First, the last 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from space. We show it daily on the channel. It's our geospace magnetosphere movie depicting magnetohydrodynamic pressure, scaled in nanopascal. That will be the units of magnetohydrodynamic pressure. Things are geomagnetically calm here at the moment, as Earth's plasmasphere attempts to reach static equilibrium. Next Earth's magnetic moment from the ground for the past 4 hours, our ground magnetic perturbations map here depicting nanotesla magnetic flux density, Earth's magnetic moment from ground level. Not a lot going on as far as that goes. It'll give us a great signal. We'll see a significant signal here when the coronal hole high-speed stream arrives. At the moment, very geomagnetically calm conditions here. We're at a KP1, planetary K index of 1. We should expect to see a big density wave. I'm expecting 35 protons per cubic centimeter for the solar wind density at the moment. Under 2 protons per cubic centimeter, so a very diffuse solar wind there. And slowing down a lot also, now down to 394 kilometers per second for the solar wind speed. The rest of those factors are fairly unremarkable. And let's look at some magnetic data next. There is your GOES magnetometer for the GOES 16 and the GOES 17. Again, things are geomagnetically calm here at the moment. And let's take a look at the heliospheric current sheet. So we only see a South Pole current sheet here. There was a North Pole current sheet getting pretty close, but it looks like the activity in the Northern Hemisphere has withheld the North Pole current sheet. So we are expecting a South Pole current sheet here to remain for the foreseeable future. That's our top view ecliptic plane field plot. Next, our line of sight field plot. Solar B field in blue, North Solar Polar field in green, South Solar Polar field in red. And with that, it's time to move to coronal holes. So here's our coronal hole line of sight plot. The coronal hole we're expecting a geomagnetic storm from is South Pole oriented, shown here in red. Let's take a look at that from SDO 211 angstroms wavelength. Great well-defined trans-equatorial coronal hole there. Trans-equatorial coronal holes are the most geo-effective coronal holes because they are most likely to hit the Earth with their high-speed proton streams. And let's move to sunspots, as we've got another rather large one having risen over the northeastern limb. So right up here, a new sunspot up there. That'll get a name. That'll be 3159. I think 3159. I'm quite surprised that the one trailing 3153 didn't get a name, but hey, don't get hung up on the names. It's all about the sunspot number. Each one of those sunspots contains multiple umbrae that are counted. I won't get into the counting system. It's a little complicated. Let's take a look at some sunspots here, starting out with your SDO magnetogram. So there's some great imagery from SDO magnetogram using polarized light to determine magnetic field orientation. Here we've got the SDO continuum, and that is a lot of sunspots. A lot of sunspots. Some of them are quite large, as you can see from the Earth scale there, larger than planet Earth. Let's add 193 angstroms here to add some character and some flavor and the extended corona and coronal hole. And let's zoom out. That's a very good composite. What happened? What happened? I failed to zoom out. Must have forgot to put that file in there. There we go. There is a zoomed out view, 193 angstroms plus the SDO continuum. Don't worry, folks. We only bring you the most comprehensive space weather and detailed imagery of the closest star in the known universe. And we ain't done yet. There's plenty more to come. Next, we'll move to energetic particles. We ain't got none. No spikes in the proton flux. all those large sunspots have been underperforming in terms of solar flaring. Check it out, the X-ray profile here below the sea background level. Looked like it was going to make it. It briefly did make it above the sea background level there. But now we're just at a background level of about B5.5. In any case, those sunspots are underperforming. The likelihood of major solar flares is kind of high. A great wavelength to view solar flares is 94 angstroms. It takes 10 images per minute. And I would remind our viewers to keep an eye on the Musk filament and the Bagashov filament, which is up here. The Musk is down here. The Bagashov is up here. The Bagashov is looking like it's become a little bit unstable. And let's talk about what's going on above our heads. Yes, Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania features a star chart looking like this. Cygnus just rising here over the northeast as Mars sets in the west. Let's do a solar system forecast. This is where things are now, heavenly bodies. And let's advance this 1 week. There's where things will be in 7 days on 12/13/2022. Next, we'll look at coronagraphs. Not a lot of coronal mass ejections happening in the last day and a half. So things pretty calm here, surprisingly calm. Is it the calm before the storm? Are we going to see aurorae at mid-latitudes as a result of a coronal hole high-speed stream? Will we see some coronal mass ejections headed toward Earth? Well, we'll keep you posted on the channel. It's part of the reason why the channel exists. So again, things quite calm here. Let's take a look at Stereo A and Soho Lasco C3. Stereo A over here on the left, located out here at Lagrange point 5. Soho Lasco C3 over here, located at Lagrange point 1. And once again, no Earth-directed CMEs, coronal mass ejections. Very few CMEs in general here. It looks like the calm before the storm to me, folks. I don't know. And we've got some more views here. Here's some zoomed out composites containing the Soho Lasco as well as SDO imagery. Here we'll zoom out a little bit farther. And how about one more step out? No CMEs earthly directed here at the moment. But there is a coronal hole high-speed stream imminent. Imminent. Next, looking at filaments. Again, it looks like the Bagashov filament here has become unstable. Part of it may have already either collapsed or ejected. The Musk filament down here is remaining mostly intact, it looks like. Huge filament here rising in the southeast as well. If you've got a name for that one, let us know in the comments. Name that filament after a living person. Please don't name it the Joe Biden filament. It could destroy all of civilization. Next, moving to... Oh, and by the way, all those filaments make the likelihood of Earth-directed coronal mass ejections much higher. Remember, folks, we don't need sunspots or even solar flares to see coronal mass ejections. Don't get them confused. CMEs are protons. Solar flares are photons. Next, another composite view. This is ionized carbon plus ionized iron. At 1600 angstroms is the ionized carbon. 335 angstroms is the ionized iron. We just brought up another composite here just to spice things up. All those bright regions there are much higher in carbon than those darker regions. We call it nuclear fusion. And here's the last couple of hours, about 2.5 hours from the GOES 16 SUVI. And this prominence down here, it has been hanging out for days. It's a good one. Let's zoom in. And that extended wide field of view is part of the reason why the Go 16 SUVi is so good. We stream it on the regs on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SmashAmash. We'll be streaming it once again today for your solar viewing pleasure. Continuing on to our bonus feature segment, here's our satellites community dashboard, and things are calm for satellites. So smooth sailing has returned for satellites, no charging hazards out there. There is the GOES electron flux, measured by the GOES 16 and GOES 17 using radiography from their geosynchronous orbits. There's the forecast model. You can see NOAA here starting to agree with us, expecting a dip in the electron flux, a typical feature of coronal hole high-speed streams. Here is the one-year graph to put it in context from Solon.info. And next we'll show the F ionosphere layer, since that is where the electron flux is measured. Let's take a look at the vibrational frequency at about 300 kilometers of altitude, one slice of the atmosphere, the bridge between Earth and space. So here's the vibrational frequency there. We are seeing some enduring low-frequency anomalies in the South Atlantic, South Africa, and South America. So it may not be obvious in the basic ionogram, but it will be obvious in the anomalygram, I assure you. So here's the anomalygram. You see that low-frequency anomaly happening there, just hanging out. South Africa, South Atlantic, and South America. That is a somewhat extreme anomaly there. This map depicts anomaly in megahertz from a 30-day median. Here's the latest image, 11:30 Universal Time ionogram and 11:30 Universal Time anomalygram. Next, we'll take a look at the total electron content forecast. Total electron content is literally the count of free electrons between your GPS satellite and your handset. That satellite located about 12,500 miles of altitude just on the inner portion of the outer Van Allen belt. There's the current total electron content map. And here's the animation. And frankly, it's pretty disorganized here, as we've got relatively high levels of electron flux, no coronal hole high-speed stream at the time. We've got fairly disorganized, disorderly electron content here at the moment. So seeing some GPS errors at night where we wouldn't expect them, and some high electron contents here in polar regions and so on. I'll let it play through one more time, as it is looking a little bit janky, it's looking a little bit jacked at the moment. Continuing on to our latest intensity gram and latest colorized magnetogram. So let's take a look at these new groups rising here. Two new sunspot groups just rose, so you can expect the sunspot number to rise as well. There are the fields. At the moment, they'd only look alpha class, but that will be an increase in the sunspot number regardless, assuming we don't see a reduction of other sunspots. And let's bring up one more series of images here. How about the SDO colorized magnetogram plus 171 angstroms? That is the imagery from yesterday plus today, since it's time to move to the realm of meteorology. We don't just bring you the most detailed space weather in the world. We start to bridge the gap between Earth weather and space weather. We're not doing your local forecast. Well, we might do your local forecast if you leave us a comment. But at the moment, just kind of bridging between Earth and space. And before we do that, you're all invited to go check out smashamash.com/smashteam. We just launched it in October of 2021. Smashtober was October of 2021. And we replaced Patreon with a superior website, our own, because we just had to go our own way, folks, because, well, Patreon did not have the capabilities that we needed to have. We are still on Patreon. If you want to support us that way, please feel free. There's a gold level. There's a silver level at smashomash.com/smashteam. So assist us with subscription services if you like. Thanks to everybody who has over the many years. We're paid just this side of nothing to put the content on YouTube. Smashomash.com/smashteam. The best value is the annual paid-up 1-year subscription for a gold membership. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter. If you don't have an account, get one. If you don't have an account, get one. We've got 339 followers. And if you think free speech is fixed, I don't know what planet you're living on. It's not Earth. You're living in a fantasy world. Stale, boring, parroted ideas by ultra-rich, ultra-famous celebrities are what are promoted on Twitter. We're not promoted on Twitter. I mean, look, we've got 339 followers and pushing 18,000 tweets. Original content every day, 339 followers. Do the math. Censorship continues. Shadow bans continue. It's known as deboosting in the current newspeak, and Elon absolutely admits to continuing deboosting certain accounts because free speech is completely irrelevant to people who grab the mic and act like they're the savior to society. So all Elon has done, folks, is grab the mic and say, look at me. My every thought is very important to see on your Twitter feed, even if you don't follow my account. All he's done is grabbed a mic and said, my fascism is better than your fascism because I'm going to control your speech this way versus that way because wrongthink. Anyway, check out our custom designs in our Smasho merch shop. You can find links below the video to that. They're in order of best selling. Today's featured product is my galactic current sheet. Yes, my galactic current sheet. Make sure you bring in the apocalypse in style, folks. Hide beneath your galactic current sheet. Maybe your bunker's not deep enough. Maybe it's too deep enough. Maybe it's just the right depth. Who knows? But hey, live in a bunker in style under your galactic current sheet. This way you can tell all your bunker mates why civilization has ended. You can get a pet blanket. You can get t-shirts, tank tops. There's a mini skirt. There's stickers. How about a canvas print? What about a comforter and duvet cover? Or maybe a throw blanket or a scarf, the thinnest form of the galactic current sheet. Mess with the magnetic field of your shower by getting a galactic current sheet shower curtain. Because things that are big are scary, which means Earth is scary, the sun is scary, and the galaxy is proportionally scarier because it's proportionally bigger. Oh no, it's the galactic current sheet. Having a bad day? Blame it on the galactic current sheet. Everything's 25% off, by the way, site-wide. Press like, press subscribe, press share, press scare. Press like, press subscribe, press scare if you enjoy being frightened. Just kidding, folks. We don't try to frighten our viewers or convince them of any nonsense. That is for cults. Tell your friends and foes about the channel. We do not believe the channel is being recommended by YouTube because it's a pathetic fraudware platform which suppresses facts and promotes propaganda and nonsense, as is quite obvious. Look at the subscriber count of some cult-based YouTube channels. What a joke. We're bringing you the most comprehensive space weather and detailed imagery of the sun you'll find anywhere in the known universe. And let's switch to meteorology. So we're looking at sea level pressure here. And the lowest pressure in the world is located in the Southern Ocean at the moment. It's about 962 hectopascals. That's stormy seas there around the world's driest and highest continent, known as Antarctica. Some high pressure there in the middle of the continent, surrounded by low pressure. So here's the world view of pressure. And let's switch to our standard fare here. The surface winds of the eastern world are looking thusly. The jet streams of the eastern world are looking like this. Jet streams of the west, the Americas, are looking like that. Strong low here. An upper level low there, rotating counterclockwise in northern Canada. Surface winds of the west are looking like this. Surface winds of the central world looking like this, and here are the jets. The 250 hectopascal winds, a signal known as the jet stream. Probably the single best determiner of weather patterns, the jet stream. Next, looking at clouds and fog over the Americas. That's 3.9 nanometer radiation, showing the croissant-shaped Earth projected onto a spherical Adobe template so that NASA can try to convince you that Earth is spherical and not croissant-shaped. Continuing to our weather.gov map. Here's our weather.gov map. Some avalanche warnings in large portions of Colorado there. Those blue areas, those are avalanche warnings. So don't get stuck under falling snow in the form of an avalanche. That could be unhelpful. Maybe we have to make a new one in addition to do not pole vault the caldera. Do not attempt to surf an avalanche. That's a bad move. If your county's lit, click your county on weather.gov. And let's take a look at some forecasts. So here's your snow forecast. That's the total accumulated snow depth change for the next 72 hours based on a GFS model, as some heavy snows continue to blanket, especially western Colorado. No amount of hot air can melt all of that snow, although there is a lot of hot air emanating from the state of Colorado. Here's your full pressure and precipitation forecast based on the same GFS model for the same period of time, 72 hours. And let's close this mother out. Close this mother out. What am I even looking at here? We're looking at precipitation type. Let's advance the snow depth for 72 hours for the lower 48 here. There's where snow is now. Here's where we expect snow to be on Friday. We'll have a slightly whiter country by then because of the snow, not because of genocide or something like that. Next, continuing on to our NASA Goes Lightning Mapper, we've got a enduring thunderstorm here in the central Atlantic. It's been going on for days. Some stormy seas there, northeast of the eastern Caribbean. Let's check our real-time lightning map. And indeed, lightning strikes continue in the Atlantic. Looks like we had a couple terrestrial strikes here recently in Kentucky as well. Or is that Virginia? I'm sorry, that's Virginia. No, that's Kentucky. But it looks like things have calmed down here. That's your lightning maps from lightningmaps.org. That's a real-time lightning map, by the way. You can use it to forecast thunder and convince the natives that you're Zeus or something. Next, your U.S. Doppler radar map showing vertical motion of water droplets. Let me press refresh as it looks jacked up. There are the full 50 states of ALSA, the allegedly United States of America. Former nation, Banana Republic, since March of 2020. And I don't know why the hell it's not animated. Please animate. Please animate. Please populate. Let's move on. This is clouds and fog over the lower 48. 3.9 nanometer radiation map. And here is water vapor. When your Doppler is unclear, bring the water vapor near. And you won't have to hear, you'll be able to see what's going on. Here's your recap. U.S. Doppler radar, which is now animated for your viewing pleasure. Clouds and fog map, engage. And there is water vapor. So, once again, thanks for tuning in, viewers. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. Press like, subscribe, share, etc. As we sign off from the Smash News Network. Least busted name in news, may that solar wind be at your back. Opinions expressed in this video are not necessarily the opinions of Smash News Network, least busted name.